Hello,
And welcome to our podcast, Wine with
Shelley.
and Shelly.
We are two women passionate about supporting those affected by cancer. Our businesses are dedicated to providing resources and community for people navigating this challenging journey.
Whether you're a cancer survivor, caregiver, or just looking for information, we've got you covered.
On this podcast, we'll be diving into a wide range of topics from the latest research and treatments to practical tips for coping with the emotional and physical challenges of cancer.
We'll also be sharing inspiring stories, interviewing experts, and exploring the latest trends in cancer care.
Join us as we navigate this journey together.
Let's get started. Welcome back to Wine with Shelley and Shelly. Shelly, my life's been a little quiet. I've been taking a little bit of a breather since our golf outing and the other fundraising event that we talked about, where we were actually able to have the lady whose house was up on auction. It was taken off of auction, and her loan is current now.
That's amazing. Yay. Yay.
Yes.
That's something to celebrate. Going through cancer is already tough enough, but to actually have the possibility or even the thought of losing your home has got to be a whole nother level of fear. That is something that nobody should ever have to experience. I mean, even if they don't have a cancer diagnosis, but
Right.
big ol'
And
pat on the back to Breathe Incorporated. And
it took a village. It really did. And it wasn't just us. But I do have to say, I can't imagine having stage 4 cancer being towards the end of your journey, or at least by appearances, and then having to move as well. It just seemed cruel beyond cruel.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you've had a few things going on. What's happening with that arm?
I'm just going to hide it underneath this desk. We already talked about this last time because we were virtual last time because Shelley had a little mishap. I like to create memories. If you get to know me, you're going to find out real quick how this works. So within an hour of, 4th of July, I have my sister and her family, my brother and his family, and he hadn't even been out to the new property, and they're going to come out camping. We're going to connect with nature. We're going to enjoy ourselves and reconnect. And, within an hour, I wipe out in some mud. I wish I had a better story. Like I keep saying, you should see my husband has one heck of an iron jaw, and I just gave him a nice uppercut and broke both my bones in my arm, but I can't even say that. It was literally a wipeout in the mud. I go to the ER like a big muddy mess because I had a ball in my wrist and ended up with surgery, a plate with 10 screws. If you missed the last episode, we probably talked about that. But again, I like to create memories. So I'm pretty sure our entire family is going to be like, remember that first 4th of July camping trip when Shelley decides to be dramatic and wipe out in the mud and end up in the ER? Well, that happened. So my brother luckily didn't laugh because he looked at my wrist and said, oh, I better not laugh. And our producer says, well, I would have laughed anyways. I probably would have too. Because it was just a muddy mess. We were just full of mud. But, enough about us and our exciting adventures. We have some really, really great things happening in our world. I think, noting that Michelle's taking some time off and taking a breath of fresh air after helping somebody save their home, I think that's well-deserved. Guess what?
Yeah.
The universe tells you if you don't listen, you end up wiping out in the mud, and the universe says, guess what? You need to not go and be a nurse for a while and take some time off. So apparently, I am not doing my job in the nursing field currently, but I'm still proceeding with our podcast and working hard at Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor to see if we can support people wherever we can. I'm super stoked about this one, Michelle. We had found somebody actually found our podcast. They found Wine with Shelley and Shelly, and she's from Tennessee, and she's down in Florida with her husband. And I don't want to speak of names because that's something that's private, unless they ever join us, which would be super fun. But she found us. She was Googling some things on the interwebs and had found one of our episodes and listened to the couple other ones that were out and felt like she connected with us. And she says, I need to reach out to these ladies. I feel like what they're doing is well needed. And it was a nice pat on the back for us to know that what we're doing is making a difference, and people are going to start seeing that there's a need there and that they need extra support. It's not taking the place of, but we're just trying to add another layer of supporting folks.
And I should clarify, when I say I'm taking a break, that only means I'm not out actively fundraising and showing up at appearances, because we are writing a lot of grants, and we're doing a lot of the office behind the scenes work that gets neglected when you're out doing those other aspects. And we are very proud to have received an application from West Virginia. So something out there is working, because people are starting to find us.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
But I am too excited to hear to introduce our guest.
Yeah. We have one crazy story. And we say that, I think I say that every time, because I'm like, oh my God, this story is amazing. And you get to talking to somebody and it might connect with somebody. And I've had listeners come back and say, oh, I loved so-and-so, or, oh, this one was so wonderful. But I'm really especially excited because we're getting some men out there speaking, and it's hard for men to get out there and speak. And so that gives other men a chance to know that they're not alone. Even if they are not the one speaking, they're going to be able to connect with something that a male is saying, and it's wonderful. We're excited about that. We're excited that we get a chance to have an opportunity to tell the world that there's cancers that can affect males just as well as females. And then just to kind of touch base on one of the most important things out there, and just talking about faith and things like that. So get your seatbelts on, everybody. We're really excited to have our guest introduce himself and tell him your story.
So, Shelley, who do you have with us today?
Guys, get ready. We have Leonard, and Leonard has an amazing story that we're just going to get right into, because we don't want to waste any time. It's about you. It's about your story, and it's about making an impact with somebody who gets a chance to listen to this. And our goal is for somebody to connect with your story. So just tell us a little bit about your background with cancer diagnosis. Let's start with that.
Sure. So thanks, Shelley. My name is Leonard Simpson, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. Initially, when I found out about this, I was shocked. It messed with my mortality, and I couldn't believe it, because I had played high school football, college football, and all these things, and here I am with something that I never thought I would ever experience.
Right. Males don't really understand that this can happen to them as well. It is generally in the women population, but it does happen to men, and it's important for people to know, like, this can happen. Make sure you're checking yourself, being aware of your body. Tell us a little bit about how did you find out about it?
Yeah, so my wife and I we go to the gym all the time, probably like 4 or 5 times a week. That was our morning routine. Mm-hmm. And so this particular time, I went to the gym, and I'd gotten out of the shower, and I said, my chest is burning. And she said, what do you mean the chest is burning? And I said, right above the middle of my chest is burning. And she said, well, you know how you go crazy over there by the weights, you probably just strained something. And so I waited for a couple of days or a week, and the burning didn't stop.
Oh.
But I kept going to the gym just thinking, yeah, she's probably right. Well, then a knot started to form.
Okay.
In the breast. And I said, something else is coming up on my chest, and I don't know what's going on. So we went to the emergency.
Okay.
And when we went to the emergency, we were able to set a doctor's appointment. My doctor was able to see me. Went in there, and the doctor examined me and said, oh my gosh, right? So I had to go take x-rays and all these things, and got a test going, and then they just moved everything along right away, and they said it was cancer.
Wow.
Second stage, I believe it was called. And I didn't know what to do. I needed a moment to just accept what was happening.
Yes, and that's a very important point because we talk about this all the time. Physicians aren't always sensitive to delivering that information in terms of who is with the person that's going to receive the information. Is there anyone with them? And do they do it over the phone? Do they bring someone into the office? And absolutely, people need time to just absorb.
Yes. Yes. And at that point, I feel like I knew this wasn't going to be about me. And I need to explain that a little bit. I knew as soon as the diagnosis came, I knew it wasn't about me. But I had to put everything in the right compartment. I didn't want to share it with anybody because I needed to understand why I was chosen for this to happen to. And I remember I looked at my wife and I said, we're not telling the children anything right now. We're not doing anything. We're living just like we've always done. And there was even a moment that in that process, my wife and I were laying in the bedroom and I think I shared this with you, Shelley. We looked at each other and part of that acceptance, we just cried.
That's beautiful.
We didn't say anything. Thank you. I was blessed to have someone to share that moment of vulnerability with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I didn't have to be dad. I didn't have to be. I was in law enforcement for so long. Every level of law enforcement you could think of, except for the federal level. And so you're the one that rescues people. You're the one that fights for other people. But right now, who's going to fight for me? And the look in my wife's eye was just saying, I'm fighting with you. I'm going to fight. I get choked up.
You're gonna get me.
beautiful.
Like you just pick. I can picture this.
Just to have her there, like to say, you're not by yourself.
You're sharing this.
You have a beautiful soul.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Just in that few minutes of how you accepted that or processed that diagnosis
Yeah.
and to say, it's not about me.
Yeah. I knew it wasn't because we just decided to open up a church. There were so many people. I dreamt about what it was supposed to be, how we were going to help people. He gave me the name to the ministry, Revealing Christ Ministries, and all of these things. And why would this happen now? So I had to sort that out. And then there was a convincing to my wife, too, that I had to do, that it's going to be okay. This is all a plan. So there was almost an excitement that started to rise up in me when you understand that what you're going through may not be about you. It may not be about you. It may not be about you. There's an excitement that begins to bubble up and say, well, who's it about? And what's it about? And who am I on assignment for?
Yep.
Who's going to see you through what I'm about to experience?
And how many lives are going to be forever changed
Yes.
that you would have no idea was even going to happen?
Yes. Yes.
It's trust. You put, after you and your wife had your moment, because I would think that it sounds like you and your wife have the utmost amount of trust.
Yes.
And so you guys shared that trust and you kind of just lifted that up.
Yes.
Because as soon as I started talking to him, I was like, oh my God. Because it's truly what it is asking God, what do you want me to do with this?
Yep.
And I 100% identified with that immediately when I met you. I was like, you knew God's path. And no matter what, you were like, okay, as soon as I get this through my head, process the human emotions, right? The real human emotions of all the fear or whatever. But you're also like, okay, I'm trusting and I'm going to lift it up to the Lord. And then you literally did that.
Yep.
but also had all those other emotions that are human too.
Yeah, and so it's almost like when you use the term lifted it up to him, it was like he pulled me up to him.
Ooh, I love
It's a
that.
little different because it was too heavy for me to lift.
Yep.
Does that make sense how I'm saying that?
100%.
So where I couldn't do something, he pulled me up to the level and supported me. He held me in a place where it could be reached to him, to handle, to take care of. And the burden of carrying it all was just gone.
It's beautiful.
So the doctors
Beautiful.
start setting their appointments for me, all of these things. So I go on, my wife was there. She had her computers, their job let her work there with me. And so I go meet these doctors and I'm looking at them and they're telling me all this stuff. And I said, this is just a process we're going to go through. You'll see. Let's just, tell me the format. This is a formality for me. Mm-hmm. Right. And there was one particular doctor that just kind of looked at me like, this guy's kind of odd,
I love that because
First off, who's not odd? Let me tell you that. Who is not odd? If you're thinking you're not odd, you're probably more odd than the rest of us.
well, and that particular doctor was on a journey he had no idea he was on.
He didn't know who he was messing with.
Did other people in your life look at you like, oh, he must be in denial, he must be hiding how he really feels? Did people believe that you had the peace that you truly had?
So that was the reason, Michelle, I didn't want my wife and I to tell anybody.
Okay.
We just lived the way we normally did, because I didn't want any feedback.
Yep.
Because when the Lord tells you something, you don't need any feedback from anyone else. You've already got the message. You don't need any other messages. Mm-hmm. It's very important to protect that message that you initially get. When he tells you to start up something, start it. You don't need any feedback. You don't need to tell everybody that's what you're going to do. You don't need to tell everybody your plans. The plan was already there. And so that's what I held on to. So that's what I avoided. It was a reason he told me not to tell anybody. I didn't want to hear, oh, you poor baby, this and that, because I already knew
Right.
the ending before it started.
Right.
I was told what the ending was, the outcome was going to be before I started, so I didn't need to hear any other outcomes.
Right. And we don't, that's a very important factor is a lot of people, have such a negative perception of cancer right off the bat. So then people will automatically bring in this negative energy to you. That's where it's tough being like, especially women. You're luckily have shorter hair and things, but women, it's almost like people look at you like you're dying and you're like, listen, I'm not dead yet. I am still here. Don't look at me like I'm sick.
Yes.
Don't look. So you're right. There's a piece of you that still is that human being, that person that's still living it up. And you wanted to be sure you stayed focused on it and you were instructed to do the way you were doing it. Boy, I can't tell you.
You are obedient.
Yeah.
Have you always been this obedient in your life?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I probably was one of his worst kids.
I don't know. I think I can
love
compete with
this.
you.
So I think I would. I thought it was I think what happened is that I realized how many things he's loved me through in spite of myself. I didn't do anything for it. Right? I didn't do anything
Grace.
special. Yes. He just loved me because I was me. His love wasn't stipulated on whether I was following him, because I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. But there that love still was tapping me on the shoulder. I still love you, and I'm here whenever you're ready. And to have that opportunity that he gave Lynn just changed my whole life, my whole perception, even how I treat other people, to grace other people. We don't have to agree. We don't have to look alike. We don't have to be at the same status. But I can love you just for who you are. You don't have to be perfect, because I'm not, and I wasn't. I'm still not. But love can be perfect in its own setting. And I think whenever a person experiences any type of cancer, the onset, you have to realize that there's so much love there ready to support you. And you have to see that in the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And those are the people that you stay close to that just love you, because it won't matter if you're losing your hair. It won't matter if you're gaining weight. They still see you. And that's what you need to have happen. So on my journey, I started to find out that there's a bad word that people use. And it's the word why. When I understood that, stop asking why. Why puts you in a place that you really don't need to be during this journey.
You just hit on a huge paradigm shift in my life as well. When my eyes were open to not asking why, but to say for what purpose. Because that's a whole different
It's that
thing.
ball game.
Yes.
Even with a fall, you just say, okay, what you got in store now? You just go, I know there's something coming. So you're right. If you stay stuck in why, you get lost. You get lost in the noise. You get lost in the importance of what we are here for. So I love that you struck on the, don't ask why. Say, what do I do with this? What's the mission?
Yes, and I didn't focus on how much time.
Yep.
What I did focus on is what I'm going to do with my time. Time became important. So that was an adjustment that was for me to understand how precious time is. The time that you spend with friends and families and strangers. How you interact with people matters. In the grocery store, it took me an hour, 20 minutes to get here. And some people are so angry on the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just, you're wasting your time with all of that. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that was one of the lessons that I was beginning to learn about this whole process that he was doing for me, even though it wasn't about me. So I would go into, my wife and I would go into the hospital. I remember our first appointment was all these different nurses. They would call you in and they would do all this, from the check-in lady to all the way in through all of these appointments, putting in things in my body and all these things, right? I purposefully smiled when I got up all day. And it became contagious to my wife. We hadn't smiled that much on purpose, because you just have a life, good morning, hey, I got to go to work, But we were intentional about smiling all day. When we got up, hey, good morning, it was just a thing, right? Because it set the tone.
That's true.
Set the tone. And I didn't realize that was blessing my home too until later.
Wow.
So we were already close, but it was like a brother-sister thing coming together. It was so magnificent. And you can share that with best friends, that same experience. Your mom, your dad, it doesn't matter, whoever that person is for you. When you cherish the time you have, things become more important. Their smile, when they make you something, when they give you a little furry gift and say, I thought about you today, that becomes important. So going to the hospital and going to my appointments, and the person checking me in, I would say, hey, how are you today? And they're like, what? You're like, what?
They probably ask you, who's the patient here?
You don't get to see this very often.
He can't be the patient. I better check my computer screen
Are you in the
again.
right clinic? I don't think you're supposed to be in the other one up on the 5th floor or whatever. You're in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
They probably weren't used to that because typically that's not what they're seeing out of the gate, especially new diagnosis.
I think you're right, because probably the third time I came, it was always the same receptionist. She said, you make my day every time you come here. You are the happiest, nicest person that I've seen come in here.
Oh.
Right? And so what it let me know is that she was under a lot of duress from how people were, like you said, they were interacting with her. And so to be able to bring that to her was the purpose that I was there. That's why she was there every time I came in to check in. And I said, I said, honey, you hear that? You see that? I said, okay, we're on a roll here. Okay.
Yeah.
So every morning now I was like, what's my next assignment? So I started talking to these nurses, right? Same thing. And so maybe like the second day or treatment that I was there getting radiation and the chemo stuff that they put in your body, nurses started opening up to me about personal stuff. And so I just started listening and I would just smile. My heart was just, wanted to be available, right? And to be available, you have to not ask, why are you going through this? You have to, it made it easier for me not to think about all that.
Sure.
It made me realize this is why I'm here. I would have never been able to talk to these people about what they were going through had I not been in this situation.
Specific reasons we cross paths with others.
Yes. So I was like, that's why you got me in the hospital. I mean, you could have just let us meet at the grocery store, Lord, but, you know, I guess that wasn't the thing. You wanted me here to be able to spend time. And so nurses was coming over by me every time I came in that they had other stuff to do, but they were coming over to just chat. And it was about things, you have some really good nurses that care about people in their field. I mean, you can't take everyone for granted. These nurses take you home with them. And you can tell by the way they interact that they carry some of the folks in their heart, even when they leave. So you're supported in a lot of ways, more than you know. And just know that there are some good medical staff out there that really love what they do. It's not for the pay, it's for the love of for what they do. So I just wanted to let folks know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that, because I think, you know, we do it. We don't need the thanks. We don't need the joy that Michelle or myself can bring is the same thing that you were bringing every time you went in there. You know, there's nothing more powerful than bringing joy to people in a tough time. And, you know, everybody has a story, you know, even a nurse or a doctor or whoever, wherever we're passing, there's stories behind every person you're passing. And we just don't take that time to actually check in because everybody's in such a rush.
Yeah.
We're busy trying to get to the next thing or, you know, but sometimes you got to slow down and notice why. Like, how many times do I get lost? You know, how many times do you take the wrong turn? Just keep going that way. You know, or how many times do you get held up because, you know, the dog pooped on the floor and now you got a mess and you were slowed down for a specific, you know, but we're always so like we got to control it. We got to let it go, you know? So like that's also a piece of where you were really letting it go, flowing and crossing paths with people in your presence. You were bringing joy.
Yeah.
And you were obviously
I love it.
It was fun to me.
filling up their tank as well. Because, you know, I think in healthcare in particular, there's a lot of absorption of stress, of worry, of anxiety for a lot of other people. And so I think it's difficult sometimes to shed that or to make that deposit in the bank account because the withdrawals are coming at fever pace. And now we're at, you know, a balance of zero or minus. And so you were there making a deposit every single day.
As
Thank you.
as the, you know, the patient and the one that we're trying to pour as much energy as we possibly can into you, and you're like, hey, yeah, well, here you go. I got some more for you. I got some more for you. And all it takes was that smile. That smile, the laughter, the whatever.
And they smiled back too. You know, it filled me up too.
Absolutely.
One thing that I did learn is I want to say to the audience that cancer is not the worst thing that can happen to you or me or anyone. The worst thing that can happen to an individual that's alive on this planet is that you miss the opportunity to love, you miss the opportunity to enjoy life. You may only be blessed with 70 birthdays, 70 Christmases, 70 summers, all of these things. And do you want to waste it on being angry, bitter, upset, unforgiving? Those are the worst things because you cannot get that back. When you let that go by, you cannot go in reverse and relive that moment. So when I understood that cancer is not the worst thing that could happen to me, it allowed me to live through it and appreciate life more. So in a way, cancer taught me a lot of things.
I would 100% agree with that. 100%.
Beautiful.
And how many times, Michelle, have I actually said, like, it sounds crazy? And we've heard it, quite a few people even say it on our podcast. In a weird way, I'm thankful for my experience because I would much rather see life the way that I do now.
Yes.
And I thought I was pretty childish and fun and like, just like living it up. But boy, oh boy, you can say thank you because I get to see it the way that I get to see it.
Yes.
And then you feel for the world that they cannot recognize that that those moments cannot come back. Because time is the only thing that it's literally priceless.
It is.
And we don't know how long that time is. And we're not going to live worrying about what time our time's up because we're not promised tomorrow.
Yes.
So I love that perspective. And I'm so glad he
Absolutely.
came here to tell everybody this because it's something that many people need to hear. If they're in the beginning, in the middle, we're going to have tough times. Don't get me wrong. Like there's going to be those, little bitty moments, but feel it and try to, process it and then try to let that go so you can spend as much time shining because that darkness is not a place you want to hang out in. And we want to get you shining that light again. It takes them back to that song, This Little Light of Mine, and you were the light, and you continue to be that light.
So, Leonard, tell us a little bit more about your cancer journey. How long were you in treatment? And I heard you mention something about a goal to start a church before all of this happened.
So my wife and I started a church online. It was during the COVID time. And so then we actually we purchased or leased a building to start meeting in person. And then all this hit. And so I didn't tell the congregation about the cancer. I wasn't like, pray for me. I didn't do any of that because I had already gotten the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I would say my treatment went on for about 9 months.
9 months. Okay.
And when all that was going on, I think I missed one Sunday. And I didn't let anybody know what it was about. I just missed one Sunday. But every other Sunday, I preached every Sunday. I did every Wednesday. I did all of these things because I wanted for people to know when I get ready to tell them what he just brought me through, they won't believe it. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, because this was supposed to increase people's faith.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got through with everything, I made an announcement. I said, church, I just want to tell you guys something. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and then online you see all these hearts going up and down the thing and the chat and all these things but it's over. I don't have it anymore. It was like, wait, what? What happened? We couldn't even tell you had cancer at all. Mm-hmm. And I was letting them know, you guys, you may be facing different things in your life. God is bigger than anything that you're facing.
Amen.
That's it. That's it. It's not don't come to the services to see me. Don't come to the services because you want to be a part of the choir, you want to do this or whatever it is. Let your reason be that he is worth all the glory, whether your situation changes or it doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
He can change how you feel about what you're going through. That's where the change means the most. You may not get what you want. The outcome may not be what you think it should be.
You betcha.
But man, when you can change the way you feel about it, that's priceless.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing you can that's one thing you can control.
Yes.
And you gave a chance to tell the congregation that you were leading exactly that is you didn't walk in fear.
No.
You know, fear is not a space you want to spend too much time in. Not that there's not that piece of human emotion that doesn't cross paths with, but you say you feel it and you say, oh. I would always tell patients, I'm like, whenever you have that doubt, it's like the little devil on your shoulder, and I say, just flick them off, and they just start laughing. I'm like, but you got this little angel. That's real. Like, hey, buddy, whatever you got to say, I'm going to listen to you. But this guy, get up. I just keep, it's a fun way to people to remember, like, we're going to humanly have a couple of those thoughts that just like to creep in there. But you're like, I don't think so.
Yeah, not today.
What do you want to listen to? What do you want to hear?
Yeah.
And you got to get rid of all that other noise, and you got a chance to share that with a congregation of people. Is there a way that we can find you if we wanted to follow your church and your sermons and services?
Yeah.
Is there some way people can find you?
I'll share the website information with you for it to be shared out if that's possible.
Sure, you can say it right now.
Say it right now as well. You never know if somebody's paying attention, or are you going to...
It's Revealing Christ Ministries. You can look it up on Google.
Revealing Christ Ministries. And where are you located?
It's in Greenfield, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Greenfield, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I was just there.
Just because you never know. I mean, there's people that can't get out of their homes if they feel connected to you, if they connect with what you're talking about. And also, the interesting thing is it's not, what's the word we can look for? It's just a unique way to praise God.
It's all about Him. It's not about anything else.
It's very much about that, and it's not as much about some of the interesting things that can happen inside spaces that we don't have to get in depth about. But that's one thing that I loved about hearing about Leonard and his ministries is it was more about the people, is more about that love. God is love. God is love. And when you said that, I couldn't help but repeat that in my brain, because that's exactly what it is. And anger doesn't have love in it. Fear doesn't have love in it.
Not at all.
The one thing you have is letting go, letting God, and bringing in that joy into your heart so you can exude that to the world.
Yes.
And I'm definitely going to be following. I'll tell you that right now. I was like, I can't wait to go to church. And that's a long time coming for this girl. And I am deep-seated in faith, but I've struggled with my own. And I think there's people out there that have struggled with what they call faith. And this isn't just about a religion. This is about faith. This is about your connection with whatever suits you in a good, positive light that leads with love. For me, a lot of mine is nature. I've talked to that. And how can you not see God in nature? So, finding that connection, and I immediately connected with you, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is exactly what God's all about. I mean, there's nothing else that I could say besides that. When I met you, when I was like, we got to get this guy on, Michelle's like, I can't wait. I have no idea what's going to happen next. But she looks at me like that all the time. She's always like, oh boy.
Well, I just want to touch back on and highlight a few things that you said, because I feel like there are some spiritual nuggets in this episode. And I could go back and listen several times to pick more out. But the first one was, don't ask why. If you have to ask a question, for what purpose? Who am I going to help today?
What would you like me to do with this?
Yes. Second, be intentional.
Yep.
Everything you do is intentional.
Yes.
So important.
It's easy to fly off the handle, but you can be intentional in not doing that. You can grace somebody,
Yes.
realizing it's not your issue, it's theirs.
And that takes work at times,
You have to practice it.
Yeah, it's practice every day.
You
So
have to practice that one.
let's remind everybody that this isn't foolproof. We're still humans, and so that's the one thing. Somebody listening might be like, "Well, that's not always that easy." You're right, because we are human and we make mistakes, and that's why God gives us grace.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As three naughty kids sitting in the same room preaching God's word, it's like, hey, he picked three naughty kids. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He's like, I
Good.
got some things for you people to do. And sometimes the most resistant ones might be just that stronger suit that he's like, okay, 50 lashings for you until you listen.
Well, and you said a couple of other things too. It's all about love.
It is.
It really,
starts with that.
everything,
Yep.
everything comes down to love.
You have to build on that.
And we have to love ourselves in order to be able to,
And some people never were taught how to do that.
Yes.
And so some people have different learning styles,
Yes.
right? And that goes into, if you demonstrate how to love yourself, they can observe that.
Yes.
And that's how some people learn, by observation. So it's very important to let your love be seen, right? So
Yes.
other people can see what that looks like. Oh, that's what that looks like. Happiness, joy, that's what that looks like. Versus reading it off a page, because that's when people think this will make me happy until they get it,
Yeah.
then they're unsatisfied again. So
Yes.
demonstration is very, very important.
And then on the flip side, don't look at somebody with envy that is exuding that love. Go, how can I do the same thing?
Because it's free.
It is free, and it's not something that you have to sometimes unlearn things from your experiences. There's no straightforward path in anybody's life, and so when you see that, you go, how can I do that too? Instead of coming at them with hate and envy and
Right.
jealousy and all the things, how can I do that too?
All those things you just mentioned are distractions from being happy.
Plain and simple.
sure. And I love that you made a beautiful statement about how things don't always turn out the way we think they should or want them to. Boy, I learned a big lesson about when I'm asking God for something, I'm very specific. Because I believe, I know He answers. And sometimes when you're not specific, He answers in ways you might not have wanted Him.
Hey, that's not what I meant. You know what I meant. You got a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, God is funny. I've said that many a times. I'm like, this guy's got a sense of humor because boy, oh boy, does he think he's funny.
But the part of that was so important was you saying, but He can change how you feel
About it.
about it.
Yeah,
Just
I
ask
love that.
Him.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yes.
Yep. And I have a footnote for you guys. So I was breast cancer free from the breast for a year and a half, 2 years. And I caught pneumonia in, when was that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
About 6 months ago.
Okay.
Went in there for pneumonia, and they did an x-ray, and they said, we see something on your lungs. You have stage 4 lung cancer after they tested it and everything. Makes a long story short. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, let's go through it. What are we doing? So I went through the whole shebang and all of that. And this one nurse said to my wife, we were on the phone, because I wasn't going to get any surgery. I was like, I'm not doing chemo again. I'm telling my wife that I'm not doing it. And the Lord told me, He said, close your mouth. I'm going to decide if you're not going to do that or not. I said, okay. So the doctor that talked to my wife said, he's got stage 4 cancer. He could be gone relatively soon. My wife wouldn't tell me what the doctor said. She told me to go in the other room, talk to the doctor, right? Go. Love you, kid. And So I went in, the doctor told me, I know you're this man that believes in God and stuff, but we got the medicine, we know this stuff, right? We know what we're doing. And I looked at her, I said, you don't know what you're doing, but I'll let you do what you think you know you're doing.
I love that.
Yes. And so, make a long story short, I get the surgery. They had to cut this mass out of my lungs, right? So I go into surgery. I come out of surgery. They're supposed to keep you for 24 hours to 48 hours. The surgeon came in the middle of the night when I was awake. She was looking at me. She said, Leonard? I said, yes. She said, I was going to send you home right after surgery. I don't know what's going on with you, but I did an in-depth x-ray of you. There's no other cancerous materials anywhere. And stage 4 cancer in the lungs, it's supposed to be everywhere. And she said, you said you smoked. I said, I used to smoke. And she said, even if it's been 5 years ago, there should have been some stuff. She said, your lungs are squeaky clean. She said, what are you doing? I said, I already told you what I was doing. Are you going to let me go home now? And she laughs like you just did. She says, no, we're going to keep you. You can't go home yet, right? So I stay there and I eat the little ice cream and Jell-O and my wife's ordering stuff. And so we wake up the next day and they have this bag to measure if the fluids are coming out properly. And they said, are you ready to walk? I said, I've been walking already. So they said, we got to see you walk. So you can see me walk. So we walked and then he took some stairs. So I ran up the stairs. These stairs, they're like, hold on, dude. You got to take it easy.
Why does this not surprise me?
Yeah. I'm
Of course,
like,
you're trying to chase him.
I'm like, nothing's wrong. It's all good. You got your test. Everything is good. You see anything that concerns you? So to make a long story short, I go to the doctor, physician, the main one, and he says, we're not going to do any chemo. You don't have to do any the things I said I didn't want to do, and God told me he's going to decide whether I'm going to.
He was determining your path.
Yeah. So, yeah, not the women, I'm telling you, no. So I get there, and he says, this is odd. He said, but, I can't explain. I'm not going to try to explain it. We're just going to keep you on your meds you've been on, and we're going to send you home and see you in 6 months. I said, I could have told you that already.
Love that.
Yeah, make a long story short with everything that I'm saying, it's there used to be a bumper sticker. I told you I've been in law enforcement a long time.
Yes.
The Milwaukee Sheriff's Department has this sticker, used to, attitude is everything. Mm-hmm. If I had to sum this up, you don't have to think the way I think. You don't have to feel the way I feel. You don't have to believe the way I believe.
Correct.
But you have to have the right attitude. The attitude is what gives the Lord something to work with. Mm. When you have the right attitude, it's submissiveness, it's a calm, it's a trusting, like a child trusts their parents. Mm-hmm. You just trust. The child doesn't ask, what's in the fridge? How much was the grocery bill? How much is the light? Right. They just cut the light on and you yell at them, cut the light off. Cut the water off. Get out of the shower. I want to know. So that's what it is. You just live. You live and you trust without worry. And when worry creeps in, like you said, because we're human, you have to remind yourself, I have the greatest dad in the world. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what happened.
Thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
And making that hour and 20-minute drive. We appreciate it.
We're thankful. For me, I'm always like, where do you want me to drive to? And I end up lost. I told her last time, I was like, here I was lost. And I made it here and I drive, 2 hours to get here just to record and stuff because I got to keep doing this. And I will drive here until I don't need to anymore, but we feel we have to get the word out. Remind us again where they find you in case they really felt connected and really just wanted to follow something that makes them feel that it's a faith thing and not necessarily like going into religion or any kind of the businessy per se things. Yeah. Where do they find you again?
You can go on Google and just Google Revealing Christ Ministries. all of the information will be on there, even how to contact us.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, if I can't imagine somebody not wanting to connect and go and just listen to this guy talk, because I could definitely do this. I'm going to be probably setting something up in the middle of the woods somewhere on my property and going, oh yeah, I might have my feet in the water, trickling stream, and I'll be listening to your voice going, amen.
Absolutely. So thank you.
Yeah.
For
Thank you for having
coming.
me. Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate that.
We love the story. We hope somebody out there connected and just, takes a little piece of something home with them. As you know, you can find Shelley at Sparkling Survivor, www.sparklingsurvivorllc.com. And you can find Michelle, Shelley.
At breatheinc.org. So please make sure that you connect with us, share with your friends, pass the information along. And we really appreciate you listening. Stay tuned for next week.
Thank you for joining us today on Wine with Shelley
And Shelley.
We appreciate your support and listening to our amazing guest stories. This podcast is brought to you by
An oncology survivor nurse.
and an oncology social worker.
We both own organizations led by women who are making a real difference in the lives of cancer patients and their families. Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor LLC.
Remember, there are many ways to get involved and support the fight against cancer. You can donate to our organization, volunteer your time, or simply spread awareness about us.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast to share your cancer journey, a caregiver story, or even your business's supportive services, please reach out.
We'll be back soon with another inspiring episode. In the meantime, be sure to check out our websites and follow us on social media.
And remember, together
We can breathe.
and become sparkling survivors.